One day soon, I'm gonna be the boss.
And I'm going to teach and empower the next generation.
One day soon, I'll use science to save the planet.
And one day soon, I'll save lives.
Right now, I'm ready to take the first step.
No matter what your goal, choose a pathway at Southern Cross University to transform your future.
G'day and welcome to the National Virtual Expo. I'm your host, Rob Malicki, coming to you today from Garrigal in Sydney. And we're going to be busting some myths in this session. All the stuff that you think might happen at uni, but actually turns out being a little bit different. Very grateful to our friends and colleagues at Deakin University for putting this session together for us. As we go, you might have questions and we've got answers for you. So you can ask them in the chat or in the comments, regardless of where you're watching live, or via the Choosing Your Uni Discord, which you'll find details of down in the description below. And for parents, we've got a Facebook community just for you. But now, let's jump into a little bit of myth busting.
Hello guys, welcome to the Virtual Expo. This is the Uni Myth Busted session and we're so happy to have you here today. Before we get started, we would like to do acknowledgement of country. So DEEP acknowledges the traditional custodians of unceded land, skies, and waters on which we all come together. As we join you virtually, we pay our deep respect to the ancestors and elders of Wadawurrung country and Wurundjeri country and the Ma Nation. We also acknowledge the many First Nations from where you join us online and make vital contributions to our learning communities. Before we get started into the presentation, I'd like to introduce you to our presenters for today. I am Zion. I study at Deakin University. I'm currently doing my final year of Bachelor of Science and I major in human biology. I'll pass it on to Matilda.
Hello everyone, my name is Matilda and I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Nursing and Midwifery. It's a double degree. I'm in my fourth and final year and I'm studying at our waterfront campus that is based in Geelong. We actually have two campuses in Geelong as a part of Deakin. We have our Geelong waterfront campus and our Geelong Warm Ponds campus. I'll now pass it on to Bernice.
Hi guys, I'm Bernice. I completed a Bachelor of Nursing at Deakin Burwood last year, and I currently just started my job as a fully registered nurse. Pass it on to Maheen.
Hey everyone, I'm Maheen and I'm in my final year of Bachelor of Biomedical Science at Burwood campus in Melbourne, and I'll pass on to Savannah.
Hello everybody, my name is Savannah. I'm currently a second year student at the Burwood campus and I'm studying a Bachelor of Law and a Bachelor of Psychology, so a double degree.
Amazing. Thank you all to our presenters. So the rundown for today's session is, first of all, the first myth we're going to be busting is I can only go to university if I am smart. Number 2 is university is too expensive. Number 3, you have to know what you want to do in university. And number 4, university is just like school. So let's get started. I'll be busting the first myth is I can only go to university if I am smart. First of all, what is smart? I think smart is quite subjective. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, so play into what you're good at and what you like. I knew from the get-go in high school that I wasn't strong at maths. I'm not really great at chemistry or physics, but I love biology. So I chose a course that allows me to explore my strengths and my interests. That's the beauty of university is that I can focus my degree on a major that I like to do, and I can do units surrounding it as well. But quite honestly, when I first got into my first year of Bachelor of Science, it was super, super easy to like fall into the pit of comparing myself to other people within my own course or even other courses. But you have to understand you can't apply that same metric as you would to somebody else in a different course. The first time it really hit me was when I sat down in my first lecture in like this huge lecture theater compared to my dingy little classroom in high school. And it hit me very quickly, like questions as, can I actually compete with other people in this room? There's like 100 other people in this room. Am I able to compete against them? But that's the crazy thing. After quite a few years of actually being in the course, I really reflected and I realized that just 3 years ago, we all took the same requirements. We all required the same scores to actually enter in. But now, after 3 years, we're all in completely different scopes. People within my own course that major in chemistry, actually, something that I find quite daunting and scary. They share the same sentiment with me whenever I share my coursework or the topics that I do. We don't understand each other, but however, we're still in the same course, which is a little insane to me. But as a science student, I know my capacity. I know that my strengths are biology. I know that my strengths are environmental science. So I'm able to work in it in university. I don't have to focus or take on tasks or units that I find quite difficult. But as a science student, I can guarantee that I cannot keep up with the creativity of an art student, nor the capacity of a law student. But I sure as heck can explain to you how fetuses grow in a womb and how they can breathe within the womb as well. Sounds pretty wacky, but I'm making it work on my end over here. Alrighty, I'll pass it on to the next myth, but that myth has been busted.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Zion. Alrighty, everybody. Our next myth, and one that commonly comes up for many, many people, I'm sure, is university is too expensive. I can assure you there are so many supports in place to help with the cost of university that we're going to talk through. But first of all, I really want to emphasize a system that is called fee help or HEX help, as many of you may have heard of before. So really, really important to know for any CSP universities, and I will clarify what that means as well, you do not have to pay for university fees upfront. Instead, the cost of your study is put on a help loan that is taken to the government. So the government will originally pay upfront for your university and all of the fees that come with it. And it's only until you start earning a certain amount of money that you will have to pay even a cent of that back. For myself, with the university, I've attended 5 years of university now, and I've never paid a single cent for any of those years as of yet. It's only until you start earning a certain amount of money, a certain annual wage per year, that that money will automatically be taken out of your tax. And that is a system that is too complicated for us to go into today, and something that you really won't have to worry about. I can assure you that there won't be any additional costs upfront, which is fantastic. My only tip that I can give you is to do a little bit of research about it, searching up things like HEX help and SA help and OS help, and asking your high school advisors as well. Also, ensuring that you get a tax file number for yourself is a really, really good thing to set you up for that too. And I really do mean that there's not a lot of upfront expenses, because even things like requiring a laptop or textbooks is something that can be assisted with by universities as well, which is very fantastic. A lot of universities will have devices, desktops in their libraries and other spaces across the university, meaning that that access to your own private laptop isn't necessarily required for your degree, which is so fantastic. At certain universities, they will have a laptop hire system as well, which is amazing. Students can actually get access to laptops on hire, which is really, really great. Even things like textbooks. I've gotten through 5 years of my degree without buying a single textbook myself, which some people might find pretty impressive, but it's quite common actually. There are a lot of textbooks that are available online now, which is fantastic. There are also lots and lots of textbooks that are available secondhand. I really encourage you to seek out people that have maybe studied your degree previously, or even seek out sources like Facebook Marketplace. but even your university itself and public libraries as well. University libraries are specifically there for books. That is what a library is all about. And there are thousands and thousands of books available, including the textbooks that may be required for your specific classes. So definitely look into those sorts of resources that you can gain through the universities. I'll pass you on to Bernice now, who keep talking a little bit about university expenses.
Cool. So in terms of university expenses, we've got scholarships. There are three main types of scholarships in Australia. First are the merit-based ones, which are for things like good grades, sports, or other achievements. Then there are access and equity scholarships, which support students based on things like financial situation, where you live, or other personal circumstances. There are also Indigenous Commonwealth scholarships, which are for students who identify as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. Those scholarships can cover all of your degree or even just half or a small percentage of it, but it does help. Even if you're not sure that you'll get one, it's always worth applying because it can really help financially and because there are actually numerous opportunities and you have nothing to lose by trying. On top of that, there are also a lot of student discounts. Platforms like Unidays and Student Beans give deals on a lot of things like clothes, food, and tech. So there are tons of savings to be made there. You can also get discounted public transport in Victoria and cheaper things like laptops and gadgets and stuff like that, all of which are to just support student life, acknowledging that you might be focusing just on studying, or if you're working just part-time, that you get the support there. Overall, these are just some ways that uni can be more affordable. I pass it on to the next myth.
Amazing. Thanks, Matilda and Bernice. So moving on to the next myth, which is you have to know what you want to do in university. One of the biggest misconceptions about university is that you need to have your entire future figured out before you start. In reality, there are so many opportunities and pathways available, and many people take different routes to get to where they want to go. For example, not everyone goes straight into a bachelor's degree after school. Some people start at TAFE, complete a certificate or diploma, and then use that qualification to transition into university later. My own journey is a good example of this. I started with a diploma of health sciences, which gave me the chance to explore different areas of health and science without the pressure of committing to a specific career. Now, through that experience, I discovered a strong interest in biomedicine, and I was able to use that credit for my diploma to transfer into Bachelor of Biomedical Science. I am now in my final year. That pathway made university feel so much more manageable and helped me to make a more informed decision about my future. I've also seen friends take completely different routes. In university, you get the opportunity to explore different interests through electives in a wide range of fields. I had a friend who chose a photography unit as an elective and enjoyed it so much that she decided to change her degree from criminology to film and technology once she realized her interests had shifted. Others have stepped away from university for a while, gained work experience, or completed vocational training, and then returned with clearer goals. So the myth says you have to know exactly what you want to do in university, but the reality is most people figure it out along the way. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I started university. That's okay. You don't need all the answers before you start. In fact, university is where many of those answers can be found. So that myth is busted. Now, moving on to our final myth.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maureen. I might get Savannah to lead us into this myth.
Yes, so a lot of people I find, as a student myself, I thought university is just like school. Why would I want to keep going to school when I don't have to, when it's not required of me? And that is definitely a myth. So a lot of people think you have to be at university 9 till 3 on Monday to Friday. And in reality, myself or none of my friends have found that to be true. So, for example, I am only required to go to uni on 2 days a week. And on those days, I'm only there for like half of the day anyway. Deacon is so flexible, and uni is very flexible with accommodating to your needs and your preferences. So, myself, I am able to work part time at multiple different jobs actually because of this flexibility. So, I'm able to put my classes onto the days which work around my jobs, and actually schedule in classes when suits me best. So, I'm not going to schedule a class on night times where I have work. I'm able to actually make it work with my lifestyle, and you don't get that in school. You're told when you need to be there, but uni, you really decide that. And a lot of the time, I'll do classes online to make it more flexible if I can't show up. And that leads me to another point, which is with most uni classes, you're not actually required attendance, and that doesn't go for every single course. But for a lot of courses, if you're sick one day, or you're having an off day and you'd rather watch the lecture from home because it works best for you, that is so fine. You don't need to explain to anybody why, and you can just attend again when next suits you. So, yeah, uni for me and most other people, it's not just like school, it's more flexible and tailored to however you want to live your life.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Savannah. I will say on this myth as well for myself, I definitely agree with a lot of the points that Savannah had said. For myself, studying nursing and midwifery, I couldn't think of something that is more different to high school and my high school experience. I have had so many amazing experiences within my degree, and specifically as well, I find that I have never had to attend university 5 days a week, 9 to 3. It is very uncommon for lots of university students, and it has been in my case. I found that generally I'll tend to be at university for somewhere between 1 to 3 days a week. And that's quite similar for many different degrees as well. Within those days, I may only have about 2 or 3 hours of classes. And it means that there's a lot of opportunity for me to complete my university work, my pre work, post work, and also lots of opportunity for me to complete actual work as well, part time and casual work. I myself have 3 jobs at university, which is amazing for me to be able to work all of those jobs whilst completing my studies. But I find that I'm able to balance it really well with the class content that I have and the class hours that I'm required to be contact hours on uni for. So I find that I really enjoy doing this part time work, and I'm able to balance it really well with my university studies as well as my placement studies as well. University jobs are amazing that they understand that you may have exams, that you have assignments, we have university break times, and particularly for my circumstance of studying nursing and midwifery, they understand when I'm on placement and that there is a big portion of my life that is taken up by that. So they're really great at being super flexible and working around your schedule, which is amazing. The great thing about university as well and working in that time, because you have options such as CSP, like I mentioned before, Commonwealth supported places, your overall HEX will be a lot less than other private institutions, which takes off the burden of feeling as though you need to work endless hours as well. So there's lots and lots of benefits that come around university, and we find it to be incredibly flexible for all the different degrees. So I think we can say that this myth has been busted. Now, just before we finish off our session, we wanted to end with one final thing, which is what advice we would give for ourselves going into university. So for myself, I think the biggest piece of advice that I would like to give to my year 12 self would to be learning about self-motivation. Now, it sounds quite interesting. So self-motivation is a big part of university, I find. There is not someone at your back going, this is when this assignment is due, this is when this class is, this is where the class is, this is when we have our exams. It's all very much self-seeking. So at university, you're very much encouraged to take care of yourself and also very much to speak up for yourself and your academic needs as well. So I'd really tried to encourage myself in year 12 to really start practicing those self-management skills. A really good way that you guys can do that is trying to seek out your own advice and information about applying for universities. So really approaching your careers practitioners, going onto websites, going onto universities and other institutions and searching up all of the information that they have on offer, because there is a lot. You just have to self-seek it and be self-motivated to find it. I'm going to pass on to Zion now.
Yeah, thanks, Matilda. I think the one piece of advice I'd give myself in year 12 is I wish I was a lot more present when I was in year 12. I was always super stressed, always thinking forward, always thinking about the next prac, the next, thing that I have to do. But I really wish I was more present and actually enjoyed my time in year 12 because that was the last time I was in a classroom full of my friends doing a really structured day. I kind of miss being a kid again in class. I kind of miss the subjects that I did. So I wish I was more present and actually enjoyed myself then. But yeah, other than that, there was nothing more so that I'd give myself. So I'll pass it on to Maheen.
Thanks, Zion. I can most definitely relate to that. My personal piece of advice to remind my 12-year-old self would be that success is not sustainable when you don't have a balance, right? So, just adding on to what Zion said, rest, sleep, mental health, all of these aren't just some luxuries, they're essential for success. So don't entirely put yourself into, okay, study, 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 I have to, and you neglect those aspects of life. So burnout is very common in year 12 and it can kind of move on to uni as well. I've personally experienced it a few times. So I have to constantly remind myself, like not to put such high pressure on myself and maintain that level of balance. This is where self-management, as Matilda mentioned, also comes in. So yeah, that would be my piece of advice to take care of your well-being along with your studies. I'll pass on to Savannah.
Such a good point. I've definitely experienced burnout a lot of times. My piece of advice would be don't worry too much if you don't have everything figured out. If you finish school and you just think you need to have your whole life plan structured out, you definitely don't. I thought I knew what I wanted to do. I went into uni and I actually ended up swapping into a completely different course, as we talked about earlier. And it just works out perfectly. You will find your way, you'll meet your people, and everything will work out just fine for you. So that would be my advice. And I'm going to pass on to Bernie.
Thank you, Savannah. Wow, there's a lot of great advice going around right now. I think for me, if I were to give advice to myself back then, it would definitely to be focus or think about the current hobbies you already have or hobbies that you want to try. Because university is a journey where you grow in all aspects of life, and that's not just academically. You're not there just to get your degree. You're there to make friends, explore what you like yourself. And so for me, that was badminton. I was involved in a lot of athletics, badminton related stuff throughout uni. And even now, as someone who just graduated, I literally turned to my hobbies as my stress outlet. So that carried me along through university as part of my well-being. And if you want to try, say, bouldering, running, or snowboarding, there are clubs for that you can do in uni. And that's a great way to make friends too. So think about the fun stuff, it's part of the journey.
Such a good last piece of advice, Bernice. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you guys for coming and for watching our session today virtually. We really, really appreciate your attendance. We wish you all the best, giving you so much good luck in these final parts of your studies, completing year 12, and particularly when you are applying and doing your applications for universities and all of those other institutions. Good luck, and thank you so much again for attending today.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Well, I hope you got something out of this session. And if you have any questions at all, you can head to choosingyouruni.com and ask Lumen. Lumen is your AI guide who knows about every university, every pathway, every option that we've talked about throughout this virtual expo. And Lumen is available to talk to you 24/7. So it's ready when you are.